Hello, my name is Mattia, and today we are going to talk about the anatomy of curls, the curly client mindset, and product knowledge. Now, let's dive deep into the science and anatomy of curly hair and find out what makes it so different. Texture and curl type are determined by the size and shape of the follicle, and that affects how every strand of hair grows out of the head. With straight hair, the follicle is the perfect oval. This allows the hair to go straight out of the head. As we move into our loose and classic curl types, we see that the follicle is no longer straight but curved, and this is what creates the beginning of that S-bend. As we go further into a coiled hair type, we see that the follicle is almost laying completely on its side. So the more pronounced the curl, the more curved the follicle is. And finally, in kinky hair, the follicle almost lays completely and totally flat. And this is what creates that intense Z pattern that we see. What's happening is the hair is shifting direction as it sprouts from the roots. Not every curl is created equal. Therefore, we at Ouidad have created a unique system in order to categorize the 4 curly types. So, to keep it simple, we decided to recognize the 4 most prevalent curls, and they are loose, classic, tight, and curly. Loose curls have a soft S pattern or wave, and for these you want to think old school Hollywood glam or beach waves. Next, we have our classic curls. The S pattern becomes tighter, collapsing on itself and creating a true ringlet. And for this, you want to think Sarah Jessica Parker. Next, we have tight curls. Tight curls have a smaller, more defined pattern that is reminiscent of an old school telephone cord or corkscrewing. And for tight curls, you want to think Solange Knowles. And last, we have kinky curls. Now, kinky curls oftentimes appear to have no pattern at all. There's so much movement in the hair that the hair interlocks and creates the effect of webbing. Think Wanda Sykes. So, now that we have assessed what causes curly hair to take on its many different shapes and forms, let's discuss what we think the number 1 challenge of curly haired individuals is. And that is definitely going to be frizz. Frizz is caused by lifted cuticles and a lack of internal moisture. Due to the anatomical structure of curly hair, it is prone to having lifted cuticles, and it is also prone to lacking internal moisture and nutrients. So once the hair is dehydrated, the cuticle lifts in order to draw moisture from the environment. So this makes dryness and frizz a 2-pronged problem for curly hair. Due to its structure, curly hair is prone to having lifted cuticles, which then in turn means that it's going to be prone to lacking internal moisture. And that's going to cause the cuticle to lift even more at times. So, moving into sebum. Sebum is a secretion of the sebaceous gland. It is a natural moisturizer that promotes the health and overall appearance of the hair. Now, with curly hair, typically the sebum is trapped at the scalp. It has a lot of difficulty traveling down that nice, fun, curly strand. So what happens is the strand is left a little bit less protected because it doesn't have the sebum to promote the health of the strand. So now that we understand why curly hair grows the way it does and how this contributes to its challenges, let's talk about how we analyze the hair, because this is how we're going to be best able to treat and care for the hair. So we have 3 different categories that we use for analyzation or assessment of the hair. And those 3 categories are density, texture, and quality. Density speaks to how many strands of hair are on the head, and it can be described as fine, medium, or dense. Next, we have texture. Now, the texture of the hair actually refers to the size of the strand and not the shape of the hair. So, many people don't realize that you can have all different textures of hair across all different curl patterns. One common assumption is that individuals with tight or kinky hair automatically have coarse hair. And as you work more and more with curly hair, you'll see that that's not true at all. Many people with tight and kinky curl patterns actually have very fine hair. And so last, when we speak of quality, we're talking about, is the hair healthy, dry, or damaged? Now, keeping these 3 categories in mind is very important for choosing your product prescriptions. We have actually created a grid that suggests products for the different curl types and the different states of hair based upon your analysis. And it's highly recommended that you keep these grids at your stations because they are very useful. Now, the most important part of working with your curly hair clients is understanding their mindset and where they're coming from. Understand that these are individuals who have struggled with their hair for years. Oftentimes it starts in adolescence when they're trying to fit in. It can even trickle into the workplace where we're made to believe that people who have sleeker, straighter hair are more attractive and more suitable for the job. So because of this, women have hidden their curls for years. And what happens? The woman or man who was bold enough to wear their curls is now pointed out and obviously becomes, let's just say, the center of attention. And sometimes this can go as far as unwanted comments, pulling and touching. And even though it's not intended to be hurtful, over time, all of the commenting and pointing out the differences can really be hurtful to the curly-haired individual. Now, on top of all of this, this individual also